In theory, this is actually really great. We really dug this. But in practice, we ran into some issues. You're going to see here that he's going to go into dynamic action, but then he's going to hit this very rigid resting pose. It's causing visual noise. It's distracting to look at. So we got to kind of rethink this. The good news is that we can take this pose that hits a lot of these core elements of the Crusader and apply it to his town idol. So when you're talking to a vendor and you're in town, you still capture that element of the Crusader that we want. But now in game, you're more battle ready. Here, even without his weapons, he's a square, mentioning the shape language Paul talked about. And when you put it in practice, it flows much better. Now it's fluid, it's dynamic, you're not distracted, and it feels really good. Once we've solved this issue, we can continue to animate more of his locomotion and his base moves and more weapons. As you can see here, this is not reacting well at all. It's just all over the place. It's got a mind of its own. So what we end up doing is we focus a lot of time now to make it feel right. Every click, every time we change gravity, physics, weight, or material, we have to then click 100 times to see how it reacts. And what you learn is it's not about the action, it's about the reaction. So it's what the flail does after the movement. And I remember we had a meeting, and I went in there, and I was talking to my art director and some tech leads, and I believe Andrew was there. And I said, all right, guys, we're either going to fail or flail. All right, I won't quit my day job on that one. I won't quit it. But we ended up with something really good, and you'll see when you play it on the showroom floor and in more videos that you won't even notice it. It's because it's working how you expected. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a character who really gathers that energy in the back, holds it, and then explodes forward. It's very physical, it's very powerful, and it's going with the line of action for the skill. Here at full speed, you'll just see how powerful it really feels. The timing feels right. We're giving enough hold so that when he hits, it's really impactful. And this is when you get character, concept, animation, effects, and design really working together, and you get skills that feel really good, they're really fun, and they look really awesome. Now, to talk a little bit more about...
melee and range thing established, how do we, explore that? We start with some skills. This is slash and shield bash. Charges in, slams his enemies with his shield, empowering it with his wrath, and slashes the air in front of him with holy fire. Very melee. The great thing about his melee skills, the Crusader is often wearing a shield, so he won't be able to dual wield. That's okay, because for a lot of his skills, they're very AoE oriented, which actually makes up for the fact that you can't necessarily flail around really fast, but you can hit lots of monsters at the same time. So that's great, melee. Tick. How do we do the range? This is Justice and Blessed Shield. He hurls a hammer, slamming into his enemies and exploding with holy fire, and charges up his shield and throws it at them, ricocheting around, crushing everything in his path. The fantastic thing about the Crusader's ranged abilities is not only do they give him the ability to kill things from afar, they also have this fantastical physical component to them. You'll see there's no fluffiness here. He's angry, he's wrathful, he's righteous, he's a knight. He really kills things really well. And even his range skills have this great sense of strength behind them. Who here played a paladin in D2? So you know Zeal, right? Zeal was an amazing skill. It increased the number of monsters it would hit as you used it. It increased your attack speed, scaled with attack rating in fantastic ways. So we decided, this guy's descended from the paladins, so let's bring that skill forward and give it to him. Unfortunately, it didn't work too well. In Diablo 2, you have 2 skill buttons effectively. In Diablo 3, we're so much better, you have 6. You have all these utility skills that you want to use. You want to have suspenders and generators and all this kind of thing going on at the same time. when you have one skill that does as many things as Zeal in that kind of context, it can actually get a little bit sad. Because you're just pressing one button all the time. You have no incentive to press anything else. We compound so many things on this one skill, that becomes all you need to press. Also, the visuals aren't really reading terribly well. It's kind of hard to tell that it actually increases the number of monsters only to 5. The buff is a little bit sort of strange and persistent because it's always there. So you won't actually see this on the Crusader. You won't see it on the floor, you won't see it in Reaper of Souls. The great thing about this is we iterate.
Boom!
Yeah! Louder! The Crusader is a knight in battle-scarred armor. This righteous warrior, so empowered and so powerful. He's this immovable force, an unstoppable object. When he commands, the heavens respond, and they give him this. Yeah, we call this an epiphany skill. This is the first pass implementation of this skill. Like, we haven't changed it since we tried it out. Very first. We saw it in game, we knew it resonated so strongly that we had to just keep it, and we haven't had to iterate on it. It was that good. The great thing about Fist of the Heavens, mechanically, is it comes from the sky. As a Crusader, I want to be surrounded by enemies a lot. A lot of my utility skills, like Provoke, actually increase their potency based on the number of monsters they... Thank you. So up next is Nick Eberly, technical artist, to take you through even more iteration of our skills. Thank you very much. And you, big guy, don't forget the hug.
Mechanically for this, you would right-click and drag out a line, and then these beams would come raining down, destruction on the battlefield. And visually we liked it. We thought it looked pretty cool, but it had some problems. It was really loud. Like if you were in a multiplayer game and your buddy was casting this, that's all you saw. So it was kind of annoying. So we kind of kept making some revisions. For this version, we had the beam chase the mouse cursor around. And we really liked the way it looked. We thought it felt really powerful, but didn't take too much space up on screen. But mechanically, it was a little rough. We didn't like having a channeled skill for the Crusader. We want him to be able to move around and hit things. So we thought, well, what happens if we gave the skill its own AI? So this is our final version of Heaven's Fury. You can see you right-click, the beam goes out, it chases down monsters, leaving the Crusader free to smite his enemy, throw his shield at him, while Heaven's Fury melts faces. Crusader summons a mystical horse, just cruises around the battlefield. It's really, really fast. Has some really awesome runes, too. Just definitely give that a try. Sword. Crusader jumps up into the air, crashes down, doing tons of AoE damage. Really helps him get into the fight, if there's anything left, after that hits. A lot of times there's not. So really an iconic skill for the Paladin. And we had to bring that forward to D3. He summons his hammers, they swirl around him, piercing through everything, just laying waste to the battlefield. Lots of fun.